Hi everybody. So, for today's mini episode of the Mahanatten to Stars Hollow TBR podcast, in honor of Matthew Perry's birthday, I'm going to be talking about a YouTube video that I watched yesterday by this guy named John, who is a licensed therapist, and he goes deep into the analysis of therapy, talking about issues related to experiences the characters on Friends go to, whether it's like one video that he made was about the whole "we were on a break" situation with Ross and Rachel. One video he made talks about Ross in general and how he's like so uncertain of who he really wants to be in a relationship with throughout the whole series. Another one I watched talks about Monica and Chandler's relationship with which I've talked about Monica and Chandler's relationship in many of my other videos, but one specific episode he mentioned that I haven't mentioned yet is the one where Monica gives Chandler bad massages, and the specific scene in the video that he talks about is the scene where Monica and Chandler are in their kitchen in their apartment, and they're talking about how somebody at work said that Monica gives really bad massages. And this is an example about how Chandler does a really great job of like talking Monica out of a situation where she feels really bad about herself. Like, another good example of this is the episode where Monica and Rachel are saying, Phoebe and Rachel are saying that she is too high maintenance, and when they're in the coffee house together, Chandler says, "Well, you are a little high maintenance," and Monica says, "You are on my list," and then he gives her this speech about how he doesn't mind that he's high maintenance because it's an important part of who she is, and then he says, "And I don't care if you're a little bit high maintenance because I like maintaining you." And then they hug, and she's like, "I didn't even tell him to say that." So that's one of my favorite scenes between Monica and Chandler, and so is my scene in this episode. So this episode opens up where Monica comes home from work, and she is very upset about somebody at her job saying that she gives bad massages. Of course, Chandler has also told her this, and I think he gives this speech to her out of feeling bad for offending her in the previous conversation. But basically, he says that if there was an award for bad massages, you would win all the votes and get all the awards. And she was like, "Yeah, I suck." And that's such a sweet moment between them. But the specific video that Mended Light posted that I wanted to talk about today is the relationship between Joey and Chandler and their friendship. Chandler and Joey have a really good friendship dynamic on Friends, and I think their relationship is very wholesome. Like, for example, he gives several examples. Like, the first example that he talks about, Mended Light, John, the first thing that he talks about in his video is the episode where Joey gives Chandler the gold bracelet as a gift to thank him for being a good friend, which, hold on. If he is supposedly not making a lot of money with his acting jobs, how was he able to afford that bracelet? Because it looks like expensive to me. So that's a huge plot hole. But anyway, so it's a really fancy gold bracelet that says "You're my best friend" engraved on it. And Chandler obviously does not like this gift. He is talking to Phoebe in the coffee house, saying how he doesn't like the bracelet and how it's something that Mr. T would wear because it's like gaudy and really so Joey walks in and then he hears the conversation between Joey and Phoebe, Chandler and Phoebe about the bracelet, and he gets really upset. Now, I hated Chandler in this situation because I thought he was really mean. He should have kept his opinions to himself about not liking Joey's present. I have never been in a situation where I have not liked a present that a person has given me for my birthday or Christmas. And I'm unlike Rachel. Like, I've never really gotten something that I bought back or exchanged either. Because, like, in the episode where they're picking Secret Santas, there's this whole debate about nobody wants to get Rachel for Secret Santa because she'll go back and exchange the gift because she wants to buy something nice for herself with the store credit. The next moment between Joey and Chandler that Mended Light talked about in his video was the episode where Joey gets home from hanging out with his theater friends, and Chandler gets angry at him for being home with the chick and the duck all day, and like the chick is not feeling well or something, and he gets mad at him because he's been out all day and he didn't know where he was, and like they're having a discussion in this scene where they're almost like a married couple talking about taking care of kids who are sick. And I mean, I think that's a really cute scene between the two of them. I like the episodes where Chandler and Joey are taking care of the chick and the duck, though I never quite understood how that was even allowed by Mr. Trieger. Because, first of all, I think the feathers would make a huge mess everywhere, and so would the poop. And then, also, you never know who might have allergies. Like, even in the episode with the one with Rachel's new dress, where Rachel, at this point, Monica and Joey and Chandler and Joey and Rachel and Monica have switched apartments because Rachel and Monica lost the trivia game in the one with the embryos. So in the one with Rachel's new dress, Rachel is dating Joshua, and they're having a nice dinner, but then she realizes that Joshua is allergic to the chicken and duck, so they end up having to go over to Joshua's house to have their romantic night in instead. And in this episode, Matthew Perry's dad guest starred as Joshua's father. And I just thought this scene was so funny because, like, when Rachel got to Joshua's house, she went to the bathroom to change into her fancy date night dress to try to, like, get Joshua in a sexy mood. And then his parents come home because they come home from their vacation in London early. And I don't remember what the exact comment is that Joshua's father, played by Mr. John Bennett Perry, gives about the dress, but I just thought that whole scene was funny because Joshua did not know that his parents were coming home early from their vacation, and then they all end up going out to dinner together. And then also another episode related to the chick and the duck is the one where Rachel and Monica are woken up in the middle of the night because of noises that the birds are making. And Rachel is very, angry and irritated because she's been woken up. And they go across the hall to Chandler and Joey's apartment and bang on the door to find out what's going on. And Rachel says to Chandler, "What is that noise?" And Chandler goes, "You." And then Joey says, "It's the chick. We took her to the vet and we think she might be going through some changes." And Monica's like, "What kind of changes?" And Chandler's like, "Well, we think she might be becoming a rooster. The next episode that Mended Light talked about in his video was the one where Chandler and Joey so this is the whole situation where Chandler and Monica are keeping their relationship in London secret from everybody because obviously they hooked up during Ross and Emily's wedding, and then everything went to shit because Rachel shows up at the wedding at the last minute because she wasn't originally going to go because she was upset about Ross's wedding to Emily, and then she shows up. Ross says the name at the altar, the wrong name at the altar. Everything is a huge mess. And then at the rehearsal dinner, Monica is really upset because somebody thinks that a guest at the wedding says that she thinks that Monica is Ross's mom. And Monica gets depressed that she doesn't have a boyfriend, and then Chandler and Monica hook up, and that's when they become a couple. So when they get back from London a few weeks later, Joey finds out their secret that they're dating, and he gets really, really mad because Chandler kept a secret from him. And I can understand why they might not want to tell Rachel, because Rachel gossips a lot, but I think Joey probably would have been a loyal friend and kept the secret for Monica and Chandler. And then there's the scene with the one where the ride-along, where Joey, Chandler, and Ross are riding along in Gary's police car because he's on a neighborhood watch for a nearby neighborhood that's close to where the Central Park Coffee House is. And they witness, a shooter shoots up the cab that they're driving in, and Chandler gets angry at Joey because he thinks that he saved Ross over him, which is not true. He actually tries to protect his sandwich, which is stupid. I'll get into that in a minute. But Chandler gets upset because he thinks that Joey is choosing Ross over him as a friend, but then he says, "No, that's not true at all." And when Joey says to Chandler, when Chandler says to Joey, "You were saving you were saving the sandwich from a bullet," Joey's like, "Yeah, it's this really good sandwich." You can tell then that Joey is really obsessed with food, and the fact that he would rather save a sandwich over a human person from a bullet is so ridiculous to me. Like, I don't understand why the writers from Friends would even write that in to the plot. Another heartwarming scene with Chandler and Joey is the scene in the finale episode where the chicken and duck get trapped in the foosball table, so they have to break apart the foosball table to free them. And basically they say goodbye to each other and said they do a secret handshake. I think that, and then another scene from season 10 I like with Joey and Chandler is how Monica and Chandler take him to see the house in Westchester, and Chandler tells him how they're gonna have a room above the garage for him to stay in. And like, I feel like that's a big plot hole that the spin-off and Joey forgot to mention. Like, so I get that Joey's acting career didn't really work out in New York and he had to move to California to try to get, like, a new jumpstart on his career. But, like, during the spin-off, you can obviously tell that his career is still not doing very good, except for the brief time when he's on a Deep Powder show. But then he starts an inappropriate relationship with his boss, who is played by Lucy Liu from Charlie's Angels. And then, I just always wondered if after his career in California fizzled out, if he ever still, even though he doesn't mention Monica and Chandler or Phoebe at all in the spin-off series, he does mention that Ross and Rachel are together. He mentions in the pilot episode that Rachel and Ross are still together, but he doesn't mention anything about Monica and Chandler or Phoebe, and I thought that was really weird. But I like to think that after the spin-off ended, Joey moved back to Westchester in the apartment above Chandler and Monica's garage and helped them to raise Erica and Jack. And then another thing that I find sort of irritating about Chandler and Joey's friendship is the fact that Chandler pretty much pays for everything related to Joey's acting career, which benefits Joey in the end because it helps him to keep the setup that Monica does for their engagement secret, so that way Chandler is surprised. But the thing that really bugs me about that aspect of Chandler and Joey's friendship is that he pays for everything related to his acting career. His headshots, his acting classes, his medical expenses when his insurance runs out, and the one where Joey loses his insurance. Like, something that really irritates me about that is that he owes Chandler so much money from the end of the series, and he's still a struggling actor by the end of the series. So the biggest plot hole at the end of Friends that I thought was really irritating was, did Joey ever pay Chandler back all the money that he owed him? Was he still paying him back throughout the whole time he was living in California during the spinoff? Like, and it also irritated me, like, where the heck were his parents? I just felt like Chandler has such a burden on him to pay for Joey's acting career. Like, Mr. and Mrs. Tribbiani only show up briefly in one episode. It's the episode where, like, Joey's dad is living with him for a little bit, and his mom comes over to drop off groceries while the dad is out doing something else. And, like, their marriage is obviously going through a rough time, but, like, I understand that Joey is the youngest out of 7 kids because he has 6 older sisters who appear in the episode, the one where Chandler can't remember which sister, but, like, why did his parents not pay for his acting career? Did they just, like, send Joey to live on his own and get the apartment with Chandler? Like, that, I never really understood that whole dynamic, and it always made me feel bad for Chandler, because it always made it seem to me like Joey took advantage of him, because he owed him back a whole bunch of money and never paid him back. Like, if I was in his situation, I would not do that. But, I don't know, I guess the 90s must have been a different time or something, so weigh in on that particular situation in the comments, please, because I would like to see what people think of the situation with Chandler funding Joey's acting career. I decided to make this video in honor of Matthew Perry's birthday, which is tomorrow. Whenever I watch Friends, I get emotional, especially when the finale episode comes on, because it makes me realize, if he was still here, how much he would have been a good dad. And Kathleen and I are reviewing Fools Rush In our podcast episode on August 30th, and we're going to be talking specifically about the scenes that Matthew Perry is in with his dad in that movie, that focuses on his parents meeting Isabel and her parents, and the theme of racism against Mexicans. So stay tuned for that video. Matthew Perry, I think about you a lot. I miss you. Happy birthday in heaven.